Hello and welcome to the first segment of the ASP Video Magazine. I'm Shaun Thomson and I'll be your host. We'll be following the Association of Surfing Professionals World Tour on 3 separate shows called Surfing Super Series. The professional circuit begins in May and ends a grueling 11 months later in April of the following year. We make stops in countries like Australia, Japan, France, England, South Africa, and even Israel. The pros sometimes have as little as 2 days to reach another event on another continent. Only tennis players and Formula One drivers can match the diversity of locations in which pro surfers compete. Along the Pro Tour, we'll meet and get to know some of the top competitors in the world, people like current world champion Tommy Carroll, up-and-comer Occhilupo, Tom Curren, Wes Lane, the Ho brothers, and many others. We'll follow their progress and rating points throughout the circuit as they compete in a wide variety of conditions. And I'll be giving you some inside tips and viewpoints on the strategies used to win pro surfing events. In part 1 of the Super Series, we'll cover the first leg of the tour. Our first stop will be Niijima Island, Japan, for the Marui Japan Cup. The surfers arrive for the Japan Cup by overnight ferry from Tokyo. As soon as the surfers arrive at Niijima, they register for the contest. After signing up, they load their boards and baggage into cars and head off to the contest site. Niijima Island is located about 60 miles off the coast of Japan's main island, Honshu. It's a beautiful place where the main industries are fishing and tourism. Once at the contest site, the judges and other contest officials prepare for the meet while the competitors get used to the surf. Finally, everyone is ready and the event gets underway. Shuji Kasuya was Japan's best shower. There were quite a few standout performances in the early rounds. Martin Lynch attacks this wave with a vengeance. Denton Miyamura shows why he did well in this contest. Wes Lane had beat out Tom Carroll to go up against Matin Potter in the first semi-final. Hedemann will have his work cut out for him as he meets Mark Occhilupo in the second semi-final heat. It comes down to Matin Potter and Mark Occhilupo in the finals. The finals are held in a best-of-3 format. Matin Potter has beaten Mark Occhilupo by a really narrow margin. This entire contest has been a real test of the pro surfing abilities. In order to compete on the pro circuit, you must perform in everything, from 20-foot plus surf to small 1 to 2 foot beach break, such as we've just seen. By winning the Marui Japan Cup, Matin Potter holds on to first place as the race for the world title begins. The next stop on the tour will be South Africa and 3 rated ASP events. One of professional surfing's greatest and most memorable venues is South Africa. Arriving at J Bay, the pros are met with perfect 8 to 10 foot surf. These are the kind of days that make traveling the circuit more than worthwhile. Imagine surfing these perfect, almost endless hollow rights with only one other guy out. And Kingsley gets an amazing ride, 3 barrels. Jefrey's Bay is most probably the ultimate competition wave. The wave is consistent, perfect, and really nothing is left to chance. The semi-finals pitted Mark Occhilupo against Richard Curren and Hans Hedemann against fellow Hawaiian Michael Ho. Occhi's radical surfing made his performance stand out throughout the contest. His backside attack is amazing. He makes strong moves in critical sections, but seems to have complete control as he recovers again and again from what would seem to be a sure wipeout.
He gets the waves, he's going to advance. Right, how exactly did your knee injury happen? Just surfing, it wasn't...
Hans Hedemann will have to pull out all the stops in order to catch Mark's momentum in this final heat.
The 1984 Country Feeling Classic winner, Occhi.
Well, it was tiring. A few good waves did come through for the final. I'd really like to thank Country Feeling. It was a great contest, the best waves I've ever surfed in a contest at Jeffrey's Bay. Even though they did get a bit smaller, they were still small and... Oops. Yeah, the waves were a bit smaller today, but they were still really hot doggable. And congratulations to Hans. It was close, and I'm glad I didn't have to get back out there for a third one because I haven't got much energy left. And I'd like to thank Country Feeling again, and I can't wait till next year. That's it.
Unreal.
The tour moves on to the city of Durban for the next two events, the Renault Pro and the Gunston 500. Familiar names once again crop up in the final rounds of competition. Names like Tom Carroll, Barton Lynch, Mark Occhilupo, Wes Lane, Glenn Winton, Matin Potter, and myself. Let's take a closer look at a few of these competitors. Tom Carroll is from Newport, Australia, and is current world surfing champion. At 5'6" and 140 pounds, Tom is one of the smaller surfers on the tour, but an exceptionally powerful physique and a radical surfing style make him devastating in the water. Mark Occhilupo is just 19 years old and is also a native of Australia. Occhi is an aspiring actor, and his aggressive and freewheeling style is setting new standards of brilliance on the pro tour. Matin Potter was born in Great Britain and raised in Durban, South Africa. At 20, Matin is one of surfing's most explosive performers, and his aerial style has revolutionized small wave surfing. Wes Lane is 25 and comes from America's East Coast. Wes is making a very determined world title bid and has brought recognition to the East Coast surfing community with his consistent international performances. There's a real carnival atmosphere surrounding the Gunston and Renault at Dairy Beach in Durban. A giant crowd comes down the beach to enjoy the event, and everyone has a great time. The beach break was fair-sized and maybe not the best shape, but it provided some fun competition surf and some great wipeouts. The semi-finals would be made up of myself and Tom Curren in the first heat, and Richard Cram matched with Barton Lynch in the second.
A couple of good ones, because you've got to have a minimum of 4 waves. Your best 4 rides count. So once he's got 4, then he can pick and choose and wait for some really good sets. And paddling, up and riding, Shaun Thomson. Getting quite a bit of speed, comes off the bottom, off the top. Trying to get through to the build-up section. And on the outside, Tom Curren's paddling around the buoy, and he's got priority. Shaun Thomson still going in the short break, trying to get through. Makes it through to the short break, does a little off the top. And up and riding, there's Tom Carroll on his 8th wave, getting quite a bit of speed. Comes off the top. Nice little clean left there. And leaves Shaun Thomson 45 seconds. Looks like Shaun's seen one, he's turning, paddling. Tom Curren still going in the inside. And paddling on the outside, up and riding, Shaun Thomson in black, Tom Curren in the front. We've got 32 seconds left. Shaun's still going, trying to get to the short break. That's Tom Carroll paddling in there. Set to the first semi-final, the first one going to Shaun Thomson. Second set, once again close, but winning that one, going through straight through to the final, Shaun Thomson.
See you later.
With a 4-1 decision.
Wait and see, eh?
That's Richard Cram up and riding. Set coming up there. From Bartlett up and riding from Australia. Now set coming up in the back there. Richard Cram up and paddling and up and riding. That's Bartlett's up and riding on the left.
Barton Lynch edged out Richard Cram to meet me in the finals.
Congratulations, Barton. You were completely in the rhythm of the waves then, and I think you caught every high-scoring ride in that heat.
Yeah, I was doing pretty good. In my first heat, I thought that I'd lost, you know, and this one I felt that I'd done all right, so I was a bit nervous that it might go the other way, but...
How do you think you'll go out there?
Well, I don't think the knowledge of the break is any factor out here. I think it's, one factor in my favour is that I am from Durban, I have crowd support, which can mean difference in motivation. It can mean that you'll try a little bit harder, but I know Barton's going to be trying his hardest. It's going to be a tough final. It's great to be in the final. It's a long time since a South African has been in a final in South Africa, and perhaps I can take it away.
Right down, so those non-competitors, can you please be out here? Up and right, long wall in front of it, it's going to come down. Take it close in front of it, nice and smooth. Quite a bit of speed. Comes off the front. And on the outside, right, please up and right. Shaun Thomson to the short right. Right, please outside, and Shaun Thomson. Shaun Thomson, you want to do something? Thank you. Straight down. Up and right. The front section is the way to slow down. Made it right forward. And a great start, a great reality. You can pull him afterwards.
Let's stand here, guys.
I got some good ways, but I think Shaun had the edge. He's a professional surfer. He's been at it a long time. He's he's an expert, and I just I don't think I had the expertise that were needed to win the contest.
I had 2 good rides to support my 2 best rides. It just depends on how good Barton's waves were. I saw him have 2 excellent, one excellent left and 1 really good right. But as I said before, I'll surf all day for it.
Result of the second set was a unanimous decision, winning that and winning the 1988.
An overwhelming judge's decision for 2 straight sets carried me through. I'd captured the Renault title.
Congratulations, Shaun.
After a week's break, the Gunston 500 is about to begin. The waves seemed to be increasing in size as the event progressed, and it looked like good conditions for the semi-finals. In the first heat, we'll have Glenn Winton up against Tom Carroll, and I'll be surfing against Barton Lynch in somewhat of a rematch of our final heat during the Renault Pro. Let's pick up the action with the first semi-heat already in the water.
That's Winton stalling to try and get a cover up there. That's current world champion Tommy Carroll. Got a nice section in front of him, choosing his waves very carefully. Coming off the bottom, vertically off the top, smashing the top of that wave. And that's a good scoring ride for Tom Carroll.
Welcome to the Gunston 500, South Africa's premier international surfing contest.
1 minute and 10 seconds. I doubt whether Glenn Winton's going to get another wave. Tom Carroll's on the outside. 1 minute exactly. And up and riding on the first wave of this heat, that's Barton Lynch doing a great backhand re-entry there. And Barton Lynch still going. He lost to Shaun Thomson in the finals of the 1984 Renault Sport. They got 40 minutes in the water. And up and riding on his first wave, that's Shaun Thomson. Shaun Thomson had been waiting 7 minutes for this wave. And he's doing some nice maneuvers on this. So that's Shaun's opening wave, still going, coming off the bottom, off the top. He's won the Gunston 6 times. Barton Lynch coming off the bottom. Oh! Look what Barton Lynch has got. Up and riding, that's Barton Lynch. A nice big maneuver. This is actually a very hard heat to judge. Barton Lynch, a goofy footer. You can see he's got his back towards the wave. Does a nice little snap there. Doing a lot of maneuvers. The surfers are judged on every maneuver, every squiggle they do. And on the outside, that's Shaun Thomson on a big wave there, coming off the bottom under the white water. Thought he was going to stall a bit, but decided he wasn't going to barrel up. That's Shaun Thomson. What can you say? That's Shaun Thomson. Barton Lynch is paddling, up and riding. That's Barton Lynch from Australia, Sydney, Australia. Getting a, what do you call that? Well, whatever you call that, he just got it.
I think I got 4 decent long rides. I don't know what Shaun got, because with the surf being larger, you can't see your opponent and you can't see what they're doing. So I feel all right. I think it depends on whether Shaun got 4 to the beach or not.
And winning that one, going straight through the finals to meet Tom Carroll from Australia, Barton Lynch.
Barton is feeling like he has to go out there and beat me solidly this time, because we had a really good final against each other in the Burropez Open in Sydney earlier on this year, and I ended up beating him. A very, very close heat, and hopefully it's going to be a close one this time, and I'm just going out there to win, same as him.
I think the person who wins is going to be the person who catches the best waves, and I'm sure that's what Tom and myself will be out to do, is to catch the best waves.
The final would be between Tommy Carroll and Barton Lynch, both surfers from Australia, both goofy footers, and both dynamic surfers.
Paddling and up and riding is in white, Barton Lynch from Australia. Nice little cover. Working that whitewater wave all the way down the beach. And paddling on the outside is Tom Carroll, streaking across that wall, trying to pull in there. The nice left hand, a nice big off the top there. Barton Lynch on his 4th wave. Doesn't look as if it's going to go all the way through. No, it doesn't. He kicks out. And a nice right-hander, bit of a whitewater face there. Goes for his 2nd big off the top. Working this wave all the way to the beach, little cut back into the whitewater. And another one. And this is Tom Carroll's 5th wave. Trying to find a little bit of bounce on the inside. Still working his board, maneuvering all the way to the beach. Nice ride for Tommy Carroll.
Oh, yes.
Coming all the way into shore break, little re-entry on the whitewater and onto the sand. And on the outside, Barton Lynch up and riding. Nice off the top. Streaking across this wave here. Not taking too many chances, really driving fast to make that section, and he's coming around it. makes it through that section. Nice, doesn't quite make. This one nice big off the top there. This wave's holding up nicely. Second big off the top. Goes to re-entry. Nice whitewater re-entry and coming onto the inside. He'll be milking this wave all the way to the beach. And a very nice ride for Tommy Carroll there. The wave held up and he packed in as many maneuvers as possible, coming all the way into the beach. And he'll be pleased with himself after that. And we've got 6 minutes left. Nice wave for Tom Carroll. Big round of applause there. Nice one, Tommy. 6 minutes left. And the waves are judged at a maximum of 10 points. And can you explain, Paul, you've been the loader, can you explain to all the...
I didn't have a start on it, you know? Yeah, because you ended not really. I can't think about it properly at the moment. Think about... I've got 2 decent ones.
Like 3 ways to the beach.
Now, both Australians, and in second place from Australia, Barton Lynch. And winning the 1984 Gunston 500, Tommy Carroll. Come on.
I've slowly worked up to this first, which I was really hanging out for. This Gunston 500 is a very prestigious event to me. To me especially, it means a lot because I've been coming here for 4 years now, and I've been watching guys like Mark Richards winning it, and I just want to win it myself. And I've done it. It's great. I'm stoked.
How do you find yourself finishing jumping today?
It's a little bit out of control. It's very strenuous. Instead of actually paddling out in the normal spot, you have to run down the beach a bit. I know it's really good. I like a challenge like that.
That victory for Tom Carroll wrapped up the South African leg of the circuit. My win at the Renault Sport placed me in second, just behind Mark Occhilupo. The official standings at this point have Mark Occhilupo in the lead, just several points ahead of myself, and in third place is Michael Ho. I'll give you an idea of how the rating points accumulate. For each event, the surfers receive a certain number of points depending on their respective placings. For example, the surfer winning an A-grade event gets 1,000 points. Second place receives 900, third 810, and so on all the way down the line. At the end of the season, the best 75% of the total A-grade contest points are used to determine the year-end ratings for each competitor. There are also B and C grade events. Each event's grade depends on the amount of prize money involved, but basically the A grade events carry all the weight. We also have what we call specialty events, which carry no rating points, but which are included on the World Tour. We'll be visiting 2 of these specialty events on the next segment of the ASP video magazine. First, we'll travel to Israel for the first pro contest ever in that country. Then halfway around the world to beautiful Hawaii for the Duke Kahanamoku Classic at Sunset Beach. Don't miss any of this exciting surfing action on part 2 of Surfing's Super Series. See you then.